Hi, salutations and greetings. My name's Margie. I'm a Hilk Empath, and I just like having these little talks, conversations. It depends on if people come in or not. If people come in, then it's a conversation. If by myself, then it's a talk. So, anyway, I'm a clarier, an all derriere. I'm extremely present in my being. I'm a spirit having a human experience, and I've collected 46 years of esoteric data, and I still do it every day. Every day, I'm on the scene. I'm looking. I'm picking up patterns and trends, and just always studying, always taking it in. I've always been trying to figure out why, for a long time, just try to figure out why people act the way they do, what motivates them, their behaviors. And now we're at a peak, a collection point, because too much cognitive dissonance, too many people are upset about stuff. So energetically, things are about to break. It's how energy works. It's like that's why it's important to shut your computers off at night when you leave work. People like to leave their computers on, just turn off their mind. I know all the tricks of the trade, but like if you're off work and you get a power surge, there it goes. There it goes. You thought you thought it was inconvenient. You think it takes a while to, now you got to wait for a new system, and people don't understand how electricity works, and we are electricity. Human beings, we're electricity. It's the cooperation with our breath and our spark that makes us, animates us, that gives us life. And people think they're destructible, and they're not. Actually, the human vessel, the soul sac is what I call it. Our soul sacs are really quite delicate. They're very quite fragile. People toss them around like they're invincible and they live forever, and what we're finding out in the world is people are just reacting. They're just reacting. They just have no control over their own bodies. They got no emotional control. They're completely responding. It's fight or flight, but they're fighting, and they don't know what they're fighting for. A lot of people don't know what they're fighting for. Well, if you get quiet, you start listening to something that's bigger than yourself, you start getting answers. People are uncomfortable. People are mad because they're not living how they want to live. Do people know how they want to live? I've been in relationships before, and it's like all I ever wanted to be was be in that model relationship. And I've been in that model relationship, and looking at pictures of me back during that time, I was lying to myself. I didn't even know I could lie to myself that much. Totally thought I was happy, I wasn't. You can see it. You can see it. I was going along, playing a role to get an idea of what I wanted. But the reality of the situation is the idea and what the relationship really was, they weren't congruent. It caused me harm. I was causing myself harm because of what, the pitch. I had pictures in my head. Now I try not to have pictures of my head. Now I leave things more open-ended. Now things are far, far more divine. I've been trying to stay present. My mind races a lot. I have a lot of kundalini, life force, energy. A lot of people do. They just think it's them. They got a lot of energy. Wake up, you feel great. You got a lot of energy. I'm gonna get this, and this, and that, and then something, a planet, something happens in your chart, and you're freaking floored, and you're like, I don't know what happened. I just lost all my energy. It ain't you, man. It ain't you. Yeah, you push through it. I push through things all the time, and you know what I do when I push through things? I freaking burn myself out. I make it harder for myself, because the older you get, it's harder it is to come back from taxing experiences, from just hard work and stuff like that, It's a trip getting older, and I'm not even there yet. Mom and I Mom shares her experiences with me because now it's fall, and so like the lighting's changed, and her everything changes, you know, from last year. We're not the same people, so now she takes a little while to wake up longer. You know, I can't. You know, now it's like we don't have conversations about certain things. You know, in the morning or in the evening, we only talk. You know, and I got to make allowances for this. So I try to teach myself how to tie knots. I like to tie knots with the rope. So I just get a long piece of rope, and I just, you know, I've been doing that, and I was looking at the butterfly knot, you know, and it's just, to me, tying knots too. I'm just putting this out there. If somebody's having a hard time, you just need something, you know, get a shoelace or something. You just need something to get out of your head. These are all just little tools you can do. Go bake cookies for the old lady down the street, you know, because so many people are just having this kundalini energy because it's just ramping up, it's speeding up, and if you live in a city, chances are you're picking up on the energy fields of everybody around you. I live in Salem, Oregon. Just thank goodness I'm divinely protected. Me and Ma and the critters always got a freaking bubble of freaking white light over us, because this place, man, I just read an article this morning about how the police, they freaking updated their encryption, because like I'm talking in terms of, if you listen to a police radio, I've always been around people that listen to scanners and stuff like that, you know. And they have their own channels, and it's all supposed to be public because we pay for it, but we just pay for their dastardly deeds, and that's just, and it's not, and it's not all that. I'm talking about the ones like this, because they changed it. They changed it so so there's a 15-minute delay. Yeah, how much shit can be edited in that 15-minute delay, you know? It's just, we get what we get. We get the scraps that we get. Is society starting to see it yet? Unless you play a game, unless you suck Sam's, you ain't gonna win. And I don't, so I ain't gonna win. I never been a dick, so I ain't gonna win. You know, but you got all these, you know, I mean, they're still playing sports to empty stadium. I think about how the millions and billions of dollars blown on the industrial corp sports, military, and political system. And I just, I can't help but kind of go, oh my God, they're going to be so mad when it all comes down, because it's coming down. Do people give, I mean, with all the people, homeless people and people that, you know, don't have jobs and stuff, do they give a fuck about, I mean, I know a lot of people that still, like, I know a guy I went to high school with, he loves his Giants, and I know a guy I went to high school with, he loves his Raiders, you know. And for them, I just gotta appreciate the love that they have, you know, because they're, you know, but those days are over. Isn't it freaking, aren't the Raiders even in Las Vegas or something? It's like, come on, man. Not today, no more Satan. Satan's not gonna win no more. All that ritualistic, you know, dancing and stuff, and our people are starting to put together what stars are in what advantage, and they win these awards, and they're with these people, and this whole sort. I don't believe that any one thing is possible, you know, because there's like, however, there's a version of the Earth for however many perceivers are on this planet. You know, there's that many, and more they start lining up with having the same ideas about things, that's when the planet will really change. Right now there's chaos because people are scared inside, and as soon as they start calming themselves down, they'll bring that peace that they find with themselves, with inside themselves, and they'll bring it out into the world, and then things will change. But it ain't gonna happen until people start coming into accountability, and I'm not seeing any kind of sign of that. I see very little sign of that. I always still hold out, though. Always hold out for the high road. Hold out for the truthers. Hold out for, you know, the high vibers. So, we are more energetic. We are more energetic body than mass. Because think about it. If we're 70% water, and if you haven't ever seen those documentaries like What the Blip We Know and stuff like that, and those with the with those people that put harsh words on Post-its and put it on a glass of water and then look at the molecular makeup of the water underneath microphones, and the positive, loving words, kind words, joyful words had congruency and a beautiful shape, and then the ones that had like hate and all that stuff on it, they were all defragmented and stuff like that. Well, what do you think happens to your energetic field or water system when people just saturate their vibration with low density storylines all the time? I read plenty of low density storylines. I also have tools that I have to you know, I mean, it ain't there. It ain't happening to me right now. You know, you can read about stuff, but you can also pick up the energetic imprint with it too. So you got to really be careful about that stuff. It's all woo-woo, folks. People are just figuring it out. It is all woo-woo. How many gods are there? How many gods are there? How many representation of gods are there? And how many people would rather fan and like, I'm like, I was trying to remember if there's any famous person that I've ever idolized, and I don't believe I've ever idolized a human being. And I think about how many people idolize, and that's just these false idols. And they're trying to distract you and to give them your money, your energy, your profits. Because, you know, I don't know if you're an hourly wage, you know, how much, like, concerts are a thing anymore, but back in the day, last year, when you could go to a concert, you know, me, I always like, okay, if I go to this show, it's going to be like a whole 2 days of work. Is it worth it? I measure stuff like that, you know, and a lot of people have a lot more, so so I know people that have just would spend thousands of dollars on concert tickets and stuff like that. And I would usually buy mine day of. And if I could get, because usually they'll open a bunch that haven't sold of like the general admission up front. They'll release them on the day of those. So I'll look at it as if I can get one of those, then I'm supposed to go. And if not, it ain't my show. And I've seen a lot of shows. I should make a list. My very first was 9 Inch Nails at Chico University. Yeah, that was my first one. And then I'd been to the Dead show, but I only hung out in the parking lot. And then there's like the Soup Dragons with NXS. That was a good one. That was right before Michael Hutchins died. The Cure, Depeche Mode, Fashion. And then in Omaha, I saw a lot. Taylor Swift. Saw Lady Gaga in Tacoma. I don't really like her much anymore. We don't have the same heart space. I'm hoping she comes back around, but it's not really looking too promising, especially after the VMAs. She might have dipped a little too far to the dark side. I don't know if she can get herself out. Let's hope for her. Who else? I even saw Ots Lee, Jewel's dad. Jewel and I used to have the same top teeth. What other shows? I saw Tool. I don't like them. Give me bad vibes. I don't like the vibe of Tool. I left early. And then I found out later there were people, there are accounts of him being Maynard being the white man's R. Kelly, and I'm like, yeah, I could see that. You know, people just get caught in there. Oh no, they're great, they're wonderful. I'm like, dude, do you hear what they're talking about? Do you see what they're doing with their hands? You know, all that stuff. I ain't never I got a couple of songs, like one song a piece from like Justin Timberlake. I never really liked him. Pink, She alright, but she's been hanging out in my neck, or in Reading and Shasta Lake, so I know that we have alignments. Dolly Parton, Bette Midler. I just have a wide, vast. Music and nature has always been my friends, because I can't make friends in real life. I just don't. I have trouble with relationships with people. Evidently, it's because of the stuff that happened to me when I was such a little girl. You know, it's like people didn't respect my boundaries, so I have a hard time knowing what boundaries are. So I just say things because I speak in matters of facts of how I witness and account things sometimes, and people take emotions onto that. Like, their emotions are my responsibility too, and I'm not in charge of other people's emotions, just like they're not in charge of mine. You know, people aren't on the earth to console me and make me feel better and things like that. You know, I have to find that inner peace within myself. It's nice though when they do. You got to kind of plan for people not having that support system there. So when it's there, it's really exciting and it's really wonderful. So I was listening to Marge this morning, and I listened to, her take on things, and I find myself, I can resonate with what she says, and I see how things are going too. A lot of these astrologers are, or so freaking God, they're just all saying the same thing. It doesn't matter really, because as long as you find a higher power, then you'll be good. I look at this time as if you ever seen that movie Raiders of the Lost Ark at the very end, when all the greedy guys got all the cheater stuff to get their powers, just like the freaking dark arts people do. Then when they do that, there's always consequences to that. And they're really, when people live from ego, there just really is no good ending to that story when they come from the heart space of ego. And so now, for a long time, we got the ego livers and the heart-based livers, and now we have both of them that are coming into kind of a balance. Everything's calibrating right now. The whole world is calibrating right now. It's like everybody's energetic fields, because people are turning off the news, so they're desaturating, they're clearing their energy. They're choosing, well, some people are, not a lot. I mean, people are like staying in this time, and you're just like not taking this time. I mean, how often did I hear people forever go, I just want to stay home? And I said it myself. And then my quarantine, 4 years. 4 years I've been doing the same day. 4 years. I feel like I've been in like a time loop. That's why I always try and do things like a little bit different, because people can get stuck living in the same day. When they get stuck living in the same day, then other people have a tendency to say, oh, they're not paying attention, let's take advantage of them. And that's what we've had in the whole world. People been taken advantage of. People just want to do good and kind things, and then you have a group of society that's just like, oh, we're going to take your goodness and we're going to take your kindness and we're going to eat it. We're going to profit from it. We're going to turn it into something dirty and gross. And then we're going to and then those people that try and speak out against it, we'll just say you're crazy. We'll say you're crazy. We'll say, oh, but you have this, and this is your past, and you're sad, and these are, you're not, your word isn't valid. But the thing of it is this last 4 years I've been doing my talks, I've been trying to walk my walk and talk the talk. I've been trying to do both, So I took a $67,000 pay cut to hang out with Mom. And I still hear guys I hated that in IT, when I'd be like, people small talk and stuff, and these men would talk about I gotta babysit my kid. I gotta watch my kid. I gotta babysit my kid. And then I remind them, it's your kid, it's not babysitting. It's your kid. Spending time, because I didn't get a lot of that care when I see, folks, I'm what happens. I'm trying to warn the world I'm what happens. You want a whole world of people like me run around because they didn't get help when they were kids, and they didn't get the mental nurturing that they deserved, and they didn't get the hugs and and then society is making a world to mimic that, so everybody gets that. Kids in school not being able to play with their friends, all that stuff for 6%, and then they quickly cover that up. Oh no, they say it, and then they don't mean it. Story of my life. When I went in, that's why I only knew I was gonna do 6 years. I was never gonna do 20, ever. Because from basic training, they all say, "Oh, this is just basic training. This ain't the real Air Force. Don't judge. Don't base a career off this." Then I got to tech school. They're like, "Oh, this is just tech school. This ain't the real Air Force." Well, I'm sorry, because everybody's walking around in Air Force shit. So I thought this was the real Air Force. So which game are we playing? You see? And then when I got to Offutt Air Force Base, suck. Go read about how important that base is. They love it. And we never we in age flight line support, we couldn't get freaking oil filters. We were like making backdoor deals with other bases to get oil filters. Meanwhile, the bureaucrats, the people in the offices, the one with the deep down tunnels and that go miles down the earth, in case they decide to hit the bomb, then they can, like little bugs, run away. They kept billion-dollar facilities, one here, one, and it's like, so what is the mission? Please tell me. What is the real Air Force? Because that's what they said when I got to Offutt. Oh, this ain't the real Air Force. Don't judge the Air Force. Well, excuse me. Could somebody please tell me what the real is? Oh, there is no real. It's all based on who's in charge, what dirt they have on people, if they done something to other people's, it's all that swinging wiener. These people watch The Godfather and gangster movies too much when they were young, and then they grew up and their brains got freaking twisted and weird. And now we have all the villains. The villains are running the world. That's what's happening. The villains. Kate Brown, she's a villain. Newsom, villain. They are villains. No vibrational people that are so... They never found the power within themselves. They never did. They never found the power to do what was right within themselves. They just always went along because, well... They were told. They're just doing what they're told. Newsom's a Jesuit, too. Yeah. I always thought it was weird how... Well, because you have extremists in every single group. There's extremists everywhere. Religion. I mean, that's why everything's a mess. Is because the extremists got so good at extreming right under everyone's noses. The cabal, the Illuminati. We're just all their freaking diet, man. Look how many people, I mean, kids are still getting taken. Yeah, they're finding kids, but look how many people, every day kids are taken, missing kids, it's not. No, and they're saying, no, you're crazy. That stuff doesn't happen. And then you have the face butts and the twatters and all those that like, all right, boys, we gotta block out these words. We can't let these words happen. Because Twatter, man, the king of Twatter, if that dude isn't a freaking dirty bird, that's just, Twatter's just an incestuous freaking cesspool of people, I can't, I got blocked years ago on Twatter. I think I did one twat, and I got blocked, so it ain't my thing. I don't like that stuff. I like nature, I like animals, I like people, I like relationships with people, I like positive relationships with people where people aren't gonna harm you and try to hurt you. I like making good food, I like music, I like, all that stuff. And then you have the people that are extreme, then take that to something dark. Because they don't got no boundaries in themselves. So today, my task is... I downgraded my bed yesterday. I went from a king size to a twin, and there's some growing pains in that. So I got to try and figure out how to put my king size mattress in the back of my truck. I'm trying to fold it in half, and I'll figure it out. But I'm gonna kind of take it easy today, because I'm in pretty good standing. I got some phone calls to do, some lists to make, so it'll be that kind of thing. I might have overdone a little bit physically yesterday, we'll see. And I gotta take it easy because if I start getting too active and racing around, then mom gets caught up in my energy field, and then she starts getting dizzy or confused or whatever, you know. So, but we're good. All in all, we're good. Hey, Carl. I only made it to the parking lot too. So, take allowances. Take allowances because we aren't, you know, we're going to get bursts of energy. Use those for things that you need to do, not fun stuff. Now's not the time for fun. There is no time for fun right now. I mean, make what you're doing fun. That's what I always like to do. That's why I always got in trouble, because everything I did, I always made it a game. And people are just like, just do it. Because they weren't having any fun. So they want me to be like them. So they would take my fun away. So it'd just be like, just work. And I'm like, well, why? I can be fun and work too. And the controllers don't like that. So I've always been an authority magnet. So now I keep it in the law. So now I've stripped all the things away that get me in trouble. Drink anymore. That was my biggest magnet. That was because people that are the controllers know that they already have a handle on you, that you already have something in you that they can power over, and then they will elaborate that. I had RPD freaking in my house. I freaking key in the door. Reading Police Department. I had my key in the door. The door lock stuck. Like the roommate and I had it stuck anyway. So it's we had a hard time sober, right? I'm drunk. Got to ride home. You know, trying to be responsible. I'm a kid. I'm like early 20s. You know. And freaking upstairs, I was because we lived on the second floor, and then freaking RPG drives by, stops, puts a flashlight, has me come back down the stairs, you know, puts me in handcuffs. Okay, takes my driver's license. I'm like, I'm trying to get into my apartment. The lock stick. Oh, you've been drinking, you know, and I'm like, dude, I just want to go to bed. And they're just freaking bothering me. I want to go in and go to bed. Go knock on the door and ask my roommate. And they're calling everybody else, but addressing, you know? And so they're trying to antagonize me. And I'm just like, I just want to go to bed. And I'm rocking back and forth because I'm nervous. Right? Because you know, I don't want to go to jail. Because they can do whatever they want. They're the police, and that's what they do. They've always done whatever they wanted. They've never not. Their book and regulations, they know the numbers. I'm seeing reports about, oh, these police, they're not doing what they're... No shit. They don't even, you know, it's recommended that they stay in weight standards, because when people stay in weight standards, then they feel better about themselves, and they're less likely to freaking drink and beat their wives and their children and kick their dogs and stuff like that. That's like proven. Health is our wealth, and all these people let it go. They didn't. They decided to go chase some different wealth. So when they're chasing their different wealth, they sacrifice their own health. And now, who's scared? The people that are at risk for secondary issues? Well, that's about freaking 75% of the freaking USA. I guess, you know, I guess it fell short back when the health craze kicked in. People were always troubled by my weight. I didn't like it, but I don't know. Other people, like my grandma made me go, they had me go to like Weight Watchers when I was 12 years old. In a room, 12, yeah, in a room with a bunch of white-haired women and me. You know, people always put me in these positions as like, do this stuff for your own good. And I'm just like, this is the dumbest shit I've ever, and these are the people that are making the bureaucrats. I saw Katie's tapping into her, old Brown is tapping into her freaking, dude, it's over. And she's extended this until November 3rd. It's an over deal. The numbers don't justify the means. They don't. And people are losing their shit, and they're going to come knocking on her doorstep. And I hope that her husband protects her and that he isn't as big as a little bitch as he appears to be to me. You know, because just because people are men and women sexually, it doesn't make, see, because everybody has energy in them. Everybody has masculine and feminine energy in them. And if people have been overcompensating and denying these these energies in them, and you can't do that anymore, because that's not truth. It's dishonest. It's lying. And lying is a no vibration, and low vibrations don't live in a high frequency planet. Why aren't people getting this? It's really fucking annoying. I've been talking about it 3 years. It's science. But people keep going out and buying their Teslas. You know, how come these, you know, the Tesla stocks keep going up, but people aren't working to buy these Teslas. Oh wait, the bureaucrats, they're still getting their $8,000-9,000 a month. The politicians, all the state employees, they're getting all their big fat checks, and they get to do it from working home. They don't see. The thing is I always thought that they got that extra pay for having to go out of their way. But if they don't got to go out of their way, then cut their pay, right? Right? If you don't need it. If you don't use it, you don't need it, right? Right? Because money's not real. It's an energy, just like the stock market is an energy, just like us. Human collective consciousness is an energy. That's why Harry Potter excelled, because how many little kids dreamed about being wizards and freaking witches and warlocks and all that jazz? Because a lot of us ancestrally have this shit in us. But it's what, if they come from ego, they're likely going to end up a dark witch. They're coming from spirit, they're likely going to end up a white witch. Or, you know, a dark, you know, it's all how people choose it. So my aspect to the day. Your mind is very sharp now, and the result that you may be a bit irritable or say too much. Quick-witted you are, but this could also result in arguments or hard words. Yeah, I say hard words because the facts of the reality of the situation, of the things that I see it are hard and they're harsh. Because people just see something, like something happens, like, okay, let me think of an example. I don't know if I can because the music is kind of. Let me look in the news. I'll just randomly give you an example here of how I do this. I'm like Keijin in these in pockets in the news that we interpret things. There's a way. I live from my heart, mind, gut, all try to be congruent. I try to keep those balanced. That's where I try to lead from. But you have people that live from their heart, but are acting like they live from their ego, or they're living from their ego and they're acting like they're living. So we have all these different worlds of how people are acting and how they're feeling. So what the world is moving into is people are coming into their feelings because we're 70% water. And so if people are raising in the ascension like they are supposed to be doing, and doing things that are better for them, and cutting all that shit away that doesn't work for them anymore, then this is a good time. If not, it ain't gonna be good. Oh. I hate the news. I try not to look at the... Nancy Pelosi getting her hair did in San Fran. These fuckers... Congress makes up at least $92 million a year. $92 million a year for 536 people that have a really high opinion of themselves. So high that this woman, Speaker of the House, that they're trying... there are some storylines that they say they're trying to set it up so she's in charge. I don't know what's going to happen. I live locally with me, Mom. You know, so the world has never been for me. I just report on it because it's never welcomed me into it open arm, and I'm unemployable now. In Oregon, I can't get a job at a freaking gas station. So, you know, what do? You try. I mean, how many jobs do you get turned? I literally darn near 100. I got turned down, from state, local government, to Rite Aid, to grocery stores, to I was out there, and I almost started hating myself because I thought it was all my fault and that I was so stupid I couldn't get a job, and what's wrong with you? Because a lot of people I ask, Marge, it's always you, Marge. It's always you. It's always your fault, Marge. You know? And people have free will choices, and any one of those people could have given me a job. They just all chose not to. So, I don't know how I can control that. Anyway, I should probably get breakfast going for Ma. Just try. If you got the racy thoughts and you don't like them, because I hate them. I hate racy thoughts. I don't like thinking about more than one thing. That's why I don't like doing. I get overloaded. You know, if like I gotta get breakfast, and you know I gotta stagger stuff, because if stuff bottlenecks and happens all at one time, then I'm like, what do I gotta do for, you know? Life is hard by yourself, man. Find your tribes, folks. Find your tribes. It ain't easy, and I don't know this. I kind of agree with what Marge was saying this morning about how their solution is going to wreak havoc. You know, I mean, they don't come up with good ideas. My experience when I was in the Air Force, officers, and my experience when I was in hospitals, worked in hospitals or universities, the higher ups aren't told the reality of what's going on because they can't handle the reality of what's going on. Fortunately, our higher up now, I think he can handle it because he's the only one that's saving the kids, that has put so much effort into the dastardly, and the storm is coming, and it's gross. The indictments, I don't know if the world is ready for the that is coming down, because it's been my life. It's been the life of me. It's been life of people like me. Mama Magali, it's the darkness has been in her life. Jessie Sordova, I think that's darkness has been darkness has always been around. It's just these people that have set themselves up in these confines that they're like, no, I don't exist, it don't exist, I don't exist, it's not real, it's not real, it's not real. All those folks, they're gonna have a really hard time. I was having a conversation with the girl last night. It's just, you know, I have a hard time people are about to not have a choice and to see the darkness anymore because the veils are being removed. So people are going to see it, and people are going to see the people right next to them for who and what they really are. They really could be a reptilian freaking being, man. But hey, you know, there's good reptiles and bad reptiles too. You know, everybody has their duality. So I don't think freaking, like, you know, what there ain't no lizard people in heaven, really? I mean, I don't know. I figured if people repent and want to change their vibrational ways, that they can do that in all kinds of incarnations, and people show up and how they want people to see them anyway, you know, and maybe this person over here is like part reptile being, you know, and you don't like reptiles, but maybe the person on the other side absolutely loves them, and they're having a hard time, and they're in there to comfort them and not you. But if you find comfort in your own self, then you don't have to worry about it. I know this is far-fetched, but this is the way the world's going. So people are quickly coming up to the point where they don't get a choice to see anymore. They're just going to see everything. They don't get to pick and choose of what they get to see. Now they're going to see everything, and I just got to remember to be kind through their spiritual triage. I'm here for spiritual triage. You know, I got to be kind and loving and all that jazz, because I had to learn. I treat me that way. So if I treat me that way, if I can be that good to me, then there ain't nobody else on the street that I can't meet with that same grace and kindness. And I just hope that other people meet me with that too when I meet them on the street. That's about all I got for now. Hope you have a rad